So the feelings thing, really mostly my fault. I just have a hard time talking about them and spending quality time discussing the emotion of a situation. And so we discussed that afterwards and agreed that we needed to kind of pursue this. And then the second thing, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to just say that you're saying it's my fault. I actually disagree with that. Just because I don't think there's a fault there. So I just want our listener, hey y'all, he self-proclaimed that not talking about feelings was his fault, not me. So maybe I'm feeling a little defensive right now.
Why are you defensive that I'm saying it's my fault that we're not talking about feelings? I'm all confused.
It's because there was that email that we got from a listener.
So that was the second thing I was going to bring up.
Oh, go. You go.
So
I'll get. Yeah.
The second piece of this is we got an email that was very nice. Said some positive things about the podcast. We always love getting that feedback, and we love getting constructive criticism too, which she had some to offer. In this case, I think she'd said that she'd only listened to one or two of our podcasts, and so she had just a small window of information, but she said that she felt like sometimes you, Sarah, come off a little condescending because you're therapizing me.
Yes, that is true.
And I just need to share that I don't ever feel condescended toward. I do feel like I get therapized some, but usually we're pretty good at vocalizing that. And I don't ever feel like I don't have the ability to say, no, we're not talking about that. Because there's been a couple of times like, well, what do you think about talking about this right now? In fact, some of our episodes have been built on that when it's come to, my family drama and things like that. The episode has been built upon, we're going to kind of talk this out together on the air because we know that other people are feeling the same things.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we've been able to discuss the emotions and sometimes we haven't done as well. And we appreciate the feedback there. I just need everybody to know I don't feel that way. But that doesn't necessarily mean that others might not. And so it's something for us to pay attention to.
Right. Because, the first person, when I received the email, because I'm the one those emails come directly to my phone, on my email
right, you
app,
watch
whatever.
Them a
I'm the
closely.
first one that gets those, right? If you're emailing us, I'm the one that sees those. And so the very first thing I did when we received this email, which, our producer actually recommended that we read it. And so I think that we absolutely will here in a minute. Mason, do I need to pull that up or do you?
Oh, to read it on the podcast
Yeah,
itself?
he said to read the email on the air and kind of address some of that. And one of the things that I really liked about the email was that the constructive criticism, they may not have liked our show and whatnot, but the way that they approached us was incredibly respectful.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they were attacking or belittling. It was just a sharing of an opinion and giving us that feedback. And so after I forwarded the email to the production team, which is, you, Mason, myself, and then our producer, Alex, will see those. We kind of got together and some of the feedback or some of the stuff that came from that conversation was that, a lot of people just don't know you and I, Mason, and our level of comfort in talking and our way of bantering back and forth. There's
only so much they can get from these short podcasts. Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's important for me or even for you, Mason, to kind of check in and say, hey, how are you feeling about, and then insert the fact that Sarah might be therapizing you a little bit, because the goal is never to make you feel less than. The goal is never to make you feel like I'm smarter than you, because maybe in the field of behavioral health, I have more expertise. That's not smarter than, that's just, this is where I've focused my life on. And for you, Mason, you are much smarter than I am in the medical field and in nursing and in medical stuff. And so that's just one of those areas that I think we need to be very cautious with. So I was very appreciative of that. Yeah,
well, and I've always found that saying things like much smarter is so subjective and not very helpful. It's almost like you're trying to judge somebody's level of intelligence by an expertise in a particular area, and it's just not fair to anyone. Mm-hmm. Like you are far more educated when it comes to psychotherapy and mental health than I am. And I'm, of course, far more educated when it comes to anesthesia and just medicine in general. But that doesn't have any reflection on our intelligence level or anything like that. So we certainly don't want to come off as condescending. And sometimes I imagine we probably feel that way towards the listener as well, that maybe we're coming off condescending towards the listener. And that is not in our intention at all, ever, because everyone out there is having a different experience. Everyone is struggling in different ways. And we're hoping simply to be able to share from our experience and our knowledge base ways that we can get through those struggles and come out on top and feeling better about ourselves and better about our situations.
Right. So would you like for me to read this? Because
go right ahead.
I found it. And
let's hear your melodic tones.
And again, as I'm reading this, I really appreciate the way this listener approached the feedback. So this individual says, "Hello, Sarah and Mason. I have only listened to your first 2 episodes."
Just want to give a shout out to the Philippines, especially Manila, but especially over the last month, we've had a huge increase in listenership, and just so grateful that you're tuning in, and thanks for being a part of what we're trying to do.